Bagan is the former capital of several kingdoms in Burma, especially the Kingdom of Pagan, the first Burmese state in history. It is located on the arid plateau of the country, along the banks of the Irrawaddy River. In 2019, UNESCO designated it as a World Heritage Site. According to Burmese chronicles, Bagan was founded in the 2nd century, by King Hpaya, 34th successor to Bagan's early founder. However, mainstream studies hold that Bagan was founded in the mid, or late 9th century, by the Burmese. From 1044 to 1287, Bagan was the capital, and the political, economic, and cultural nerve center of the Pagan Empire. Over the course of 250 years, the rulers of Bagan and their wealthy citizens built more than 10,000 religious monuments, approximately 1,000 stupas, 10,000 small temples, and 3,000 monasteries, in an area of 104 square kilometers, on the Bagan Plains. The prosperous city grew in size and grandeur, and became a cosmopolitan center for religious and secular studies. Sein Nyet Pagoda is actually a pair of sites, Sein Nyet Ama, 1085, and Sein Nyet Naima, 1086. The Ama temple was built in the 12th century, typically square, with entrances facing in all 4 directions. Naima is a stupa, with guardian lions on each corner. Merit attributed to the monk Sein Nyet of the 12th century, some attribute it to Queen Sein Nyet of the 11th century, but the style of the temple is much later. There was also a prince during Along Sithu's reign, 1112 to 1167, named Sein Nyet, who became a monk, and some scholars attribute it to him. As there are other temples in Bagan of this period, with similarities of architecture and decor, this sounds more probable. The Yama, or elder sister, is a temple, and the Naima, or younger sister, is a spire. What remains of the stucco work of the temple is delicate and ornate, of traditional motifs, such as ogres, clutching garlands, real or mythical birds and animals. The younger sister is a lovely spire, with the upper part having a unique design. Above the bell-shaped dome is a ribbed disc of some thickness, topped by a filial ridged with horizontal bands. What remains of the original stucco decoration is exquisite. The original name of the temple has been lost to history. It is now called the Naga Yan, meaning protected by a snake, or Naga. The temple marks the spot where Prince Shlengchen, the future King Count Sitha, slept while fleeing from the wrath of Saul Lu's armies. According to the chronicle, a cobra rose up and watched over him, and in recognition of this meritorious act, the prince built a temple on the same spot when he became king, built between 11th and 12th centuries, probably late 11th century. Comparisons of deities and iconography with earlier temples suggest that Bagan kings were in the process of purifying their Buddhism, favoring Theravada orthodoxy. It's the deities and iconography that are absent that is significant. Bagan's culture was dominated by religion. Bagan's religion was fluid, syncretic, and by later standards, unorthodox. The pagan empire collapsed in 1287, due to repeated Mongol invasions, 1277 to 1301. Recent research shows that the Mongol armies may not have reached Bagan. However, the damage was done. The city, once home to between 50,000 and 200,000 people, had been reduced to a small town, never to regain its splendor. The city formally ceased to be the capital of Burma in December 1297.